Hello everybody, PlanetWalls here. It is time for the 11:30 daily challenge. It is actually 9:43 p.m. on the night of the 30th. How am I still playing the daily challenge? Well, it's been paused for quite some time. My wife is currently, you know her, I think. Her name is, what's her name? Becky. She's looking at the sugar cookie eggnog. So we just started this daily challenge. Holy shit, I don't have glasses on. I was sitting a little far away.
You're allowed to play last night's challenge?
Yes, I can play last night's since I started it before the night ended.
Okay.
And paused it. So, I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work. I assume it will work just fine.
Why did you buy sugar cookie eggnog as opposed to regular eggnog?
Speak up so everybody can hear you complain about my shopping decisions.
You don't make good ones.
I know I don't. But I make fun ones. Fun for me.
No, you don't make good shopping decisions.
So there are a couple things we're going to talk about today. One of them
is why AJ decides to buy sugar cookie eggnog as opposed to regular eggnog.
Oh, and by the way, last time I went to the store, I did buy cookie dough ice cream, and Becky looked at me like I was an idiot when I came back, because she was like, did I say I wanted this? This isn't cookies and cream, or what was the other one? Chocolate chip cookie.
No,
Wait, what did I buy? I bought chocolate chip cookie dough. I still can't fucking get them straight.
Oh my god. You're gonna drink this because it tastes like sugar cookie and not like eggnog at all.
Well, that sounds fucking great. Sugar cookie eggnog without the nog is the best part. I will probably... Why did I just throw that there? I will probably need to take a dairy pill before I drink that, or I'll be doubled over in day zero style agony later. Anyway, there was going to be a surprise, either XCOM or Half-Life 2 tonight, but we couldn't get the audio sorted out with XCOM, and Becky didn't have time for Half-Life 2. Those things will be coming soon. I'm really trying to work on the audio. Thank you for the dairy pill. I'll be sure to guzzle some of that sweet, sweet, gooey eggnog.
Right.
In between splunking decisions.
I specifically asked for cookies. Okay, this is the best thing
ever. You asked for
ever.
Cookies.
This is the best thing ever, guys. So...
Oh, this is not the best thing ever.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's actually probably one of the worst things ever.
So...
Hello, man.
I've lost too much weight recently for inexplicable reasons. I tend to think it's stress, but it may not be. And my family carries around, like, I think I've explained this before.
Yeah, celiac,
a rare
things.
autoimmune disorder that presupposes one to diabetes mellitus and celiac disease and thyroid issues.
Oh my god, we have so many ropes.
And my thyroid's kind of funky and it's acting weird.
Yes.
Which means that I've lost a lot of weight anyway. But then I've lost, like, I don't know, quite a bit more. So this is awesome. I went to the endocrinologist, and she decided to put me, because I never officially had a celiac test done with the antibodies or the horrific colonoscopy.
Yes, this is the exciting part of the story.
She decided that in order to not get a false negative, that she was going to put me on a gluten-rich diet.
Rich.
Well, I mean, I've got to work up to it. For the next month. And she's running, like, the full panel of all the tests.
The full panel.
Yeah. So
Sunday.
So I have gotten to eat cookies. And I've gotten to eat pumpkin pie and stuffing during Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. And turkeys that were cooked in unsanitary conditions.
Right. And it has been like
that's probably over.
And this has only been 3 days, but it's been the most glorious 3 days ever.
Oh,
okay.
God, eggnog.
Now, granted, I am having GI distress, but it just could be because I've introduced something. See, it tastes bad.
This is disgusting.
I told you that.
Oh my God.
Why do you waste your money on stuff that doesn't taste good just because it looks fun?
There is no way I could have guessed that chocolate chip cookie dough or sugar cookie eggnog was
Anyway,
bad.
this brings us back to the story. So the story is, whatever, I still have GI distress, but it's apparently to be expected because I haven't had any I haven't had any gluten for 2.5 years.
Yes.
So.
And maybe you've been contaminated a few times on accident.
And I've been, well, we don't know even if I have it. But I was off of it because I got really slim really fast, and because my dad had it, we just kind of assumed that I had it, but I never had the panel per se. It was only tested originally when he got diagnosed.
I don't like this situation. Okay, there we go.
So, this is more information than anybody needed to know. Regardless, in my month of joy, before I have to go get this test done,
Joy month!
I asked AJ to bring home some fucking cookies.
And did I?
Cookies. No. Do you know what he brings home? Fucking cookie dough ice cream. And he's like, they're like the same thing. Okay, sound off in the comments if you think that cookies are like cookie dough ice cream. Because they most definitely are not.
I'm sorry.
And then you brought home that shitty cookie, like sugar cookie eggnog, which doesn't at all taste like eggnog.
Oh
I
my
didn't
God.
ask for that, but at the same time, like, I don't understand why you buy drinks and then just you don't drink them.
It's because they're delicious. I don't know what I'm saying. Sorry, I'm getting stressed out here.
So, anyway, this is a, I don't know, an issue in a marriage. AJ doesn't know how to bring home anything that I explicitly, I request stuff. I hate going to the grocery store. I request stuff, and,
Oh, fuck. Fuck!
it's very rare that, in fact, the right thing is brought home. I think one of our earliest marital fights had to do with the fact that AJ brought home, I asked for, what did I ask for?
Sun chips.
I asked for
And feminine hygiene products.
Okay, fine.
Ah.
Oh.
It's okay, we'll start the next one right away.
Okay.
That was depressing.
I asked for, that was bad. That was really bad.
Yeah. Oh, I always do this.
I asked for sun chips, and, AJ brings home these weird ranch flavored or something sun chips that had nothing to do with regular sun chips, because if you've ever had sun chips, you would know that they have a distinct flavor.
No, you didn't want sun chips.
That's what I originally asked you. I can't
Oh,
remember
yeah,
what I
that's-
wanted.
Oh, fuck! That was an accidental button press. Oh, that's not a good way to start.
Okay. I almost thought you said asshole button press.
It was.
And, so, I don't know, one of our earliest fights was how I must have been stressed about something. But, like, I was just
Probably
like,
being married to me.
you don't know me. You know nothing about me. How is it possible?
Have I ever wanted sun chips? I think you said that.
Oh, no, it wasn't sun chips that I wanted. I think it was Doritos.
Yeah, you didn't want sun chips. You wanted chips of some kind.
No, I specified. But you brought me home sun chips instead. But I was like, when have you ever seen me in the 5 years we've been dating eat any of these?
Horrifying.
And AJ, he was like, never. But I thought they looked good. And I thought they might look good to you.
Well, I did. I did think that.
In Jon Snow fashion.
What?
What? I thought...
What? I'm
they
Jon
look-
Snow. I'm a
I
fucking idiot.
I thought they looked good.
What do you expect?
I don't really know what's happening right now. I don't know why it's possible you could be so upset. Anyway, even though the grocery store is pretty far away, and you'll have to spend whatever amount of time without the things that you requested.
Yeah.
And he's just like sitting there, we're watching television, he's eating them right next to me, and I'm like, glare at him, and he's like, what? What? Why are you looking at me that way? But it's pretty obvious. Maybe this is just female bitching, I don't know. But
There's a special category of it.
at this point I was cooking quite a bit and doing like normal house chores and dishes, and it was your responsibility to shop.
It was.
And when you couldn't even do that, I was like, you know,
I could do it, I just did it poorly.
you did it poorly. And
Yeah. I just want to be clear about
There was
that.
another incident where I asked for mint chocolate chip ice cream, and you decided to bring chocolate chip ice cream.
No, it was
and then-
cherry chocolate chip. That's what you
Oh,
couldn't handle.
oh my god, mint chocolate chip ice cream. We brought home cherry chocolate chip ice cream.
It was delicious.
And-
You ended up liking it.
Whatever, but
You liked it.
Whatever, the point...
She loved it.
The point was, this was directly after the sun chip incident. And it was like the second time, and I was so fucking pissed, because I was like, again? Really? Again? And like, I couldn't get over it.
No, you had trouble getting over that one.
And then from now on, I don't trust AJ to actually bring home anything I ask.
No, she didn't trust anymore.
Nope, no trust.
She just assumes that I'm gonna fail. Which is probably inappropriate.
It's inappropriate.
No, I meant the opposite. I meant it was probably appropriate. Sorry.
I think empirical evidence suggests that it's appropriate.
Yeah, it probably is. So,
Those are red flags. When you get two of them, you're like, this guy's not going to the grocery store for me anymore.
Okay, so I have a couple things I want to discuss real quick.
Okay. Well, that was one of them. Why is that you decided to bring home cookie dough ice cream as opposed to cookies?
Is stupidity a good enough answer? No? Okay. So I've got something I want to talk about. When we were at our hipster Thanksgiving, somebody mentioned mentioned narwhals. Actually, what they said was narwhale, which I think is wrong, but kind of makes more sense than a narwhal. Anyway, the point is not anything about narwhals. Well, it kind of is. Not narwhales, though. The pronunciation doesn't matter. But I have heard before, and I don't know where I've heard this, that narwhals were the inspiration behind unicorns. Behind that sort of...
How is that the inspiration behind?
Well, here we are, right? This is the big question. How the hell would a narwhal be the inspiration behind a unicorn?
This is kind of like a chicken or an egg problem, don't you
It's
think?
kind of like that, but stupider. And the reason I think it's stupider is because narwhals live in the water, but unicorns are horses.
That's what I meant.
Yes.
Like, why would you... Because you see a horse, and you're like, what if it had a horn on its head? Like, because a lot of, like,
Yes.
antelope and whatnot have horns on their head, so you're like, oh, a unicorn. Like, okay, that makes sense. So the idea that somehow a narwhal, whatever, would be the inspiration for a unicorn seems a little... It just seems a little... like, there are a few more leaps you would have to make intellectually
Yes.
to get to the position where you're like,
That was
oh,
stupid.
that makes sense.
I agree.
As opposed to looking at like a deer and being like, this is kind of like a horse.
I agree.
Horses had horns.
So I'm supposed to think that the logic was like, if a whale can have a horn, maybe a horse can too. But that just seems stupid. It seems like you could think that without seeing the narwhal at all, right?
Right.
So, that's the first thing I wanted to discuss. Fucking webgun, fuck you. The second thing was manatees. Now, I have also heard, and somebody brought this up at the party, and it makes a lot of sense to me to bring this up in tandem with what we were just talking about. I've also heard that manatees supposedly inspired sailors to think about mermaids.
It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Now, why does that make no sense, Becky? Why would that make no sense to you?
Well, on what grounds would they think that it was a mermaid?
Yes, because they look like fat whale fish. You know what they don't look like? Mermaids.
Ariel. Is that Who Jax? The Four Sisters?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Or wait, yeah, was it? Maybe that was Fenzelian. I think that was Fenzelian. Yeah.
Whoever it is, I'm sorry for you.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's stupid, right?
I thought you said it was like because they, manatees look like floating dead bodies in the water.
That was my theory. Maybe
But
it's
then
that...
I thought to myself, that makes no sense because mermaids are supposedly fine underwater. That's like their natural habitat, so that wouldn't make sense at all.
Right, it kind of wouldn't, would it?
No. So I didn't buy that. But this is what our hipster Thanksgiving consisted of.
It was kind of like that. It did definitely
It was
consist
just
of that. This
basically-
is going to be hard, by the way.
We say hipster Thanksgiving because basically we're all...
It was Thanksgiving and there were hipsters there?
We're Thanksgiving and they weren't hipsters.
They actually weren't.
They weren't hipsters. Basically, it was like all of us lived far too away to like go in the short amount of time that we have over Thanksgiving break home.
Yeah.
So we, I don't know, decided to cook Thanksgiving.
Yes. This is bad, isn't it? Oh.
Well, actually, oh no,
This
no,
is-
no.
I have no options!
No! Oh God, that was.
It was painful to watch from my side, too. It felt like I was out of body.
Oh my God!
I was... My spouse is embarrassed at the person I am.
That's not. I don't think what my face is saying right now.
What are you saying?
I am a little, how do I put it? I don't know if I want to use this word, but you're kind of gangbang there. But you put yourself in that situation.
It
so
was a poor set of decisions.
I'm...
Are you doubting my integrity as a person?
No, I'm doubting your integrity as somebody who spends like 5 hours a day doing this. And
That's not true.
I would say you spend Maybe...
How many have I spent so far doing this today?
I would say you spend an hour actually playing, and then you spend tons of time actually rendering.
Okay. There's some truth to that.
And then reading comments and making notes about comments and thinking about what it is that you want to talk about at any specific time.
So, yeah, narwhales. This is a no gold run, by the way. Everybody loves those.
Because you fail.
They don't love them because I fail.
Anyway. So, Thanksgiving. What made it vaguely hipster was the fact that we're listening to James Taylor as well as The Doors.
You really think that James Taylor is hipster?
No, but when it becomes mixed with The Doors and Fleetwood Mac, I think at a certain point it becomes
I don't think Fleetwood Mac is hipster.
It's hipster, I say it's hipster.
Okay, that's fine. Anyway, enough about the hipster debate. The grand hipster debate.
I really enjoyed the comments on that.
Yes. I did too. There were some excellent short papers written. Maybe a couple long papers.
I really liked them.
This
They were
is
quite nice.
fucking shitty. Alright, how do we get out of this bullshit?
It totally, when I walked past them the other day, I was like totally thinking of your comments, and I was like, yeah, actually, that makes a lot of sense.
So, shit, what were we just talking about?
We were talking about
Oh, that
how
was good.
you became irrationally irate.
Oh, yes!
One of your students who wrote... Are we allowed to say something about your students? Or do we have to change the
Well,
details?
what she... I will... No one will even know how I changed the details. I'm so smooth.
That's probably not true.
Yeah, it is.
But AJ basically lost his cool
That's not true.
when he was... Yes, it was. When you were writing a paper... Well, I mean, you took some time to breathe before you assigned the grade. And I convinced you that, like, your emotional blindness with regard to this in the paper, like, was hindering your ability to actually see straight.
The paper did fine.
And
it got a good grade.
It got a good grade because I told him that it was a good paper. And that, in fact, like, he was in accounting. AJ himself was not accounting for a lot of the things that
That make a paper good or bad.
they were analyzing, right, and that it was AJ's own blindness and fault that actually caused him to be so upset.
Okay.
So I saved the
Well, we have to describe what her paper was about.
I have saved the student's day in the end. So, if you're listening, just know that this is AJ's fault, not yours. This is your father's fault, not yours. Don't worry.
That's true.
You had a bad day at work.
I had a bad day at work.
Okay.
But it makes sense why I had a bad day when you realize what the paper was about and why it offended me. I'm right about that, right?
No.
Okay. So the assignment was to write a short film review that entertained ideas about the moral value of animals and nature, and the film selected for this week was Babe, which I actually mentioned, I think, in my last video, because it's a masterpiece. Anyway.
It is AJ's favorite.
It's one of my favorite movies.
Just in general, but also specifically with regard to his like childhood nostalgic.
Yes, it's one of my favorite childhood movies. I think
Even
it's
though we were
beautiful.
I think we were a little older when it came out, actually.
I was 7, I think. Wasn't it like 93?
I don't know. I remember feeling I was a bit too...
You were a bit too old at
A
the
bit
time?
too old, but then the story is complex enough such that like I like talking animals, like it didn't really intrude, and I was like, okay, this is actually.
I just got gold.
This is cute and beautiful. This is cute and beautiful.
Mm-hmm. But
You think that Babe is like a
the student
freaking
argued
masterpiece.
what she said, and granted, we read it alongside, like, I think John Stuart Mill or Jeremy Bentham or maybe Peter Singer or something. So, fuck, I got gold. So, why did that happen?
You might want to explain who John Stuart Mill, Bentham, and Singer,
Well-
what they have in common. and
Well,
what you're trying to get
they're
across.
all referred to as utilitarians. So anyway,
Which means
well,
this
they
matters.
can look it up on Wikipedia.
No, this matters.
No.
With regard to your yes, it does. Because you were arguing something very specific about the movie.
Specific and correct.
Okay, no, I don't think you were correct, but that's fine.
My student made the case that
Tell-
the movie Babe showed a utilitarian authoritative structure in which farmer John Hoggett sat on top of a value axiology and all the animals existed in different tiers below. And I was like,
That seems true.
no. I was like, the movie is about subverting. I'm not gonna get that. It's about subverting this notion. You even see Babe. who's this small child, get fed in the most lovely scene with the bottle by Farmer John Hoggett as he sings. And I'm gonna sing the whole thing.
No, please, God.
If I had words to make a day for... Hang on, I had the gurgles.
Stop.
I'm serious about that.
Stop.
Fuck. I'd sing you a morning, golden and true. This is kind of my favorite place where he realizes he's gonna have to work hard to get Babe to drink from the bottle. I would make this day last for all time. That's how it goes. And through the night, deep in moonshine.
Are those actually lyrics? Sometimes you get them fucked up.
I have trouble understanding lyrics a lot of the time. If I had words. And he starts dancing, and it's really quite lovely. And it's like a pop incarnation of that song. Well, it's from, like, lyrics from a different pop song.
No,
mixed
it's, okay, I think
the Camille Saint-Saëns.
It's Camille Saint-Saëns.
Ed Mace will know
I think it's the, Organ Symphony. I think it's, is it number 3? You can check this for me, but it's referred to as the Organ Symphony. It's actually one of the most I really enjoy the piece. I don't know if it's one of the most beautiful, sophisticated pieces ever.
Edward Mace is currently getting ready to write a big piece about how you may or may not be correct.
Yeah. Everybody associates Camille Saint-Saëns with, like, Dance Macabre or, like...
I fucking hate Dance Macabre. Do you remember how many times we had to watch that shitty slideshow?
Yeah.
I don't understand even why we had to do that.
Stop. He's always associated with Dance Macabre and, what is it? What is it, Carnival of the Animals?
Yes.
Yeah. But at the same time, he has this gorgeous, what I think is gorgeous, symphony that uses an organ, but doesn't really use the organ until I think it's the last movement. You can actually...
It's really powerful when it starts.
You can correct me. And like, if you start it at the last movement, it doesn't really have the same...
Isn't Camille Saint-Saëns like a tier 2 classical?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Whatever, it doesn't matter to me.
I don't know. Like, all I know is that, like, you have to listen to the entire thing, which is, I don't know, a sizable length, in order to really understand this. And there's this, like, big organ that comes at the very end.
I don't know what that happened.
And, like, the violins and everything are playing, and all of a sudden you get these chords from the organ, and, like, it just becomes this, like, grandiose, like, majestic fountain of music, and it's quite, like, breathtaking. And I remember the first time I heard it, like, I was like, this is familiar, and then I recognized it actually from Babe. I'm sorry that that's the way it happened, Edward Mace, but that's how it happened. But then I was like, oh my god, the original is so much better. And I remember, like, obsessively listening to it when I was younger.
God, you're such a hipster. The original was better.
No, I mean, I remember obsessively...
I knew about it before it was in Babe.
Okay, but the point being, like, I listened to it obsessively and I listened to every movement because, to be honest, like, you don't really get the full effect of the symphony unless you listen to the whole movement. So, for those of you who don't like music, I don't know, anything, and decide that it's all about, like, whether or not you, I don't know, like it or don't like it, or it's pretty subjective or whatever, like, and you don't think that you would particularly like classical music, this is something that I would probably say, like, listen to this, and because it's probably already familiar to you, this symphony number 3, the Organ Symphony. This is one that I would recommend as, like, one of those things that you would like, have to listen to, and also you would really, really enjoy as a piece of classical music. Edward Mace, you're free to disagree with me. Anyway, so AJ gets super pissed at this student.
I wasn't pissed. It was just...
He gets super angry.
It wasn't pissed, it was just that he was obviously wrong.
It wasn't...
About Farmer John Hoggett did not set up some sort of utilitarian utopia or dystopia. How can you even be so negative about the movie Babe? It's about a pig that talks and it's happy and it makes everything better at the end. It's really a messianic figure when you think about it, and I made that case.
Stop. First of all, you need to clearly explain what a utilitarian ethic is.
Utilitarian ethic in this case is one which, I mean, the basic way to put it is that it measures the ethical value of an action or person through the consequences or results with specific reference to utility, measured either in happiness or some other form. The point is, in this case, we were talking about a form of Jesus Christ, utilitarianism that where different animals would have different ethical value depending on how close to consciousness, human consciousness they were. We were looking at Peter Singer, in which we discussed how all animals are to be equally considered with respect to their features. Anyway.
So it's a utilitarian ethic that involves sort of the integration of a hierarchy.
Yes.
Based on the standard of human consciousness as being sort of...
I mean, that's sort of how Singer works. That's close enough.
Yeah. Okay. So that's all you need to know. So this student is making an argument that this is what
she actually did a really good job.
I don't know what the student is, but whatever. Yes, I convinced you the student did a good job.
I knew that before you had to tell me.
Okay. Utilitarianism is, I think,
even though it was wrong,
often seen as juxtaposed to what we would call deontology.
Yes, and
deontology suggests that basically there are universal actions.
You just say you just say you don't do something because of its results, but certain things are your duties in virtue of the actions that they are.
Right. It's about
and there are a number of different ways to. Oh shit.
It's about the principle itself. Not about the consequences of the action, right? And so you would do something out of principle, and not just because, you're going to get rewards, or, this will save the most number of people. So
a traditional Kantian way of framing it is that, like, you might say all human persons have equal standing before the moral law. That would be one way to frame it.
Right.
I don't know, that's really ham-fisted, so don't quote me on that.
Let's put it this way. Like, so for example, if you're setting a boundary or something, you're like, okay, the boundaries we're setting because it's in principle, it's correct. And I, whatever, value myself or something like that. That's more along the lines of the logic. Consequentialism is more like Jack Bauer in 24. He's like,
well, that's one radical way to frame it,
the needs of the masses, outweigh the needs of the few, so I'm going to torture
and then the student was reading Babe as saying, like, well, the pig has a certain amount of value, but the farmer has the most value, and then the dogs have secondary value. And I agree that that's how the movie starts. But this student wasn't reading the movie, really. She just wanted to find a way to incorporate utilitarianism. But Babe is one of the most important movies of our generation. In its subversion, its radical subversion of a way of framing, like, that axiology according to animals. I mean, it doesn't even matter. The point is that Babe is a Christ figure who brings in a radical egalitarian turn to the farm. He treats everybody with respect, regardless of species. It's just...
But other people don't. What about Ba Ran Yu?
That's the point, is that all of a sudden Babe has been able to cross the species threshold in a different way. And he's able to touch not only the sheep, but Farmer Hagen.
If you can't tell, AJ is a radical Kantian. Now, I wouldn't say radical Kantian. He is a traditional Kantian? I don't even know what I would say. He's not a neo-Kantian.
No, not a neo-Kantian.
He espouses what Kant believes wholeheartedly, and he is a deontologist to the core.
Well, maybe I don't act that way, but I think I should.
That's what most deontologists do. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't actually act that way, but I feel as if I should.
Yeah.
In truth, like, he won't speed because he's afraid of getting caught by the police. Not because, the principle is that one shouldn't speed because you don't kill other people.
What can I say? I'm a sinful person, like Kant talks about in the religion, within the bound. Fuck you, game.
But he's all about...
Fuck you.
AJ's a deontologist.
Oh, fuck.
I would say that my theoretical leanings are toward deontology, but I've also been sort of more... I know I'm getting on camera saying this, but...
Oh god, there are spiders here too. Oh.
I tend to respect people who are really trying to think through autonomy, but in new and sophisticated ways.
Really? Okay, sorry, go on.
For example, like... I really like your previous advisor, even though, he wasn't like...
Ah! It's okay, it's okay.
Even though he was very busy because he was on like Obama's like healthcare committee or whatever, and he was constantly flying to Washington D.C. He was trying to sort of carve out a way between deontology and autonomy, as well as, what else?
It was essentially like you try to find the Aristotelian mean between applying a deontological standard and usually a utilitarian standard.
Right.
That was normally the way it was framed.
I personally don't know how well it works, and I think he was really trying to get it to work pragmatically in a lot of situations, and I really appreciated it. All I can say is I really appreciated it, and I find it really intellectually interesting. And
Okay.
I think you do too.
But I want to talk... There's the scene in Babe where even though the dog... Maybe we shouldn't talk about this
I'm
anymore.
just laughing because AJ gave this poor student like 20 comments on like a 2-page paper, and I was like, you have got to cool it down.
Well,
and he was like, no! Babe is the most important thing that has happened
I didn't say
to
that.
this
I just
generation
felt that way.
that has ever occurred.
That's not
And
what I said.
it fundamentally shaped my view of life, and in fact, there's nothing more important than the first time I watched Babe. And I was like,
I think
even
you're
our
overstating it a tad.
Yeah, and I was like, even our wedding? And he was like, even our wedding.
I don't think I said that. Maybe
Not
I
that,
would,
actually,
but
I don't even think our wedding was probably even the most important day that I
maybe
ever
it was
had.
Babe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Are you fucking kidding me, game?
But
This game is a big dick.
You were super angry. You feel toward Babe as I feel toward Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's probably accurate.
Which is passionately and spurgy, and if somebody were to, I'll be honest, if somebody were to write something in Game of Thrones that like I was just like didn't show me that they understood the nuance of the show, I would have trouble objectively reading this paper. Like, I know that my limitations would suggest that I could not objectively read this paper. Probably give it to another TF and say, you need to check me. Because, honestly, I am blinded by my own
Well, that's what I did. I gave the
biases.
paper to you.
You did. And I was like, no, you cannot. You have to give this a higher grade.
I gave it a decent grade the whole time.
You
I
did,
just gave it
but
a
it was
lot
still-
of comments that you said seemed a little crazy for some reason.
I said it seemed a little overly invested. I had to walk a fine line between supporting my husband and simultaneously advocating for the student. And my loyalties, honestly, were for the student because I knew that you would get over it eventually.
That's true.
I mean, the student would as well, but, like, I also kind of wanted to I almost wanted to videotape you with regard to how crazy you were being in this respect.
I don't...
Like, I wanted to take my iPhone and kind of film you. It was like 2 a.m. in the morning.
I was really impassioned.
You're very impassioned. Yes, you were.
But I mean, like, how can you watch Babe and think it's advocating a hierarchy at all? Like, the pig is fed by a man and teaches the man, and his kindness is so universal. I mean, there's no doubting that he's a Christ figure. And then there's the miracle of the sheep, essentially, that everyone witnesses, and they're all...
It wasn't
The order is subverted. The order of the farm is subverted by his being.
That's not true. They still killed things. There was a duck at Christmas time.
I don't remember the exact...
There was a duck at Christmas time. That is not that was not consonant with deontological ethical theory.
I don't remember the exact
suggests-
situation at that
Deontology
point.
suggests there is no person that should be left outside the field of ethics in
Well,
such a way that...
No, but we're
like,
talking about a narrative here. It doesn't have to realize a perfect deontology within the movie.
It just has to be
It just
going
has to
for
talk
it.
about... Yeah, we're dealing with like an egalitarian society in the wake of Babe the Pig.
And do you think that after Babe won all those awards and everybody was like clapping and his wife was like, oh!
Yeah, I don't think they ate any more pigs.
Really? You think they became vegetarian?
Yes.
Really?
I don't only think they became vegetarian. I think they became...
They weren't sheep farmers. They were now vegetarians.
Well, maybe there are some animals that they would eat that don't have consciousness. That's beside the point.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Shit! Okay, we're okay. We're okay. I thought a gold bar might hit me.
I think absolutely every animal in that had a consciousness. And insofar as it did, I actually think that Babe was kind of rigged from the beginning. Because, I mean, we're already presented with a world in which every animal has consciousness.
Okay, you know how...
So really, Singer's argument isn't even, like, valid with regard to this. Like, that could have been... That could have been a good paper, which is why Singer doesn't apply to this movie at all, because the movie presupposes
I agree
that
I didn't think Singer really applied to the movie at all.
Because Peter Singer, okay, that this movie, Singer doesn't apply to the movie at all, because of the fact that
more ropes, huh?
we already presuppose in the context of the fantastical movie that they can talk and speak.
Right,
and
it's not a movie about animal rights, it's a movie about radical egalitarianism and subversion. It seriously is a Christ story. I know that you're finding that potentially ridiculous,
it's ridiculous.
commenters.
And okay, let me say one more thing about Babe and Peter Singer. So Peter Singer, in case you don't know, and I don't think we're explaining this very clearly, and I feel like we should have a note card. Because you're giving a bad lecture right now.
Well, that's because I'm playing Spelunky.
Peter Singer is also a radical utilitarian.
Yes.
Right? Who believes, like we said before, that sort of the kind of closer you get to human consciousness, the more utility or worth something has, right?
Jesus.
So in this situation, if there were like a boat, and there were a dog, and there were a baby, right? You don't measure, like, insofar as you immediately get out of the boat, it's actually the baby that should be tossed outside the boat and not the dog. Because the dog is actually closer to sort of a human emotional intelligence than the baby.
And, like, the way you measure utility according to equal standards is by looking at, like, hopes, dreams, fears, etc.
Right.
And
so a good paper would have actually been, oh, Babe is rigged from the beginning.
What the fuck?
Babe is rigged from the beginning to actually subvert Peter Singer's theory.
It's not really about animals. That would be a good thesis about Babe.
Yeah.
A good criticism about the movie.
But that also is in line with your reading, too.
Well, it's in line with my reading because it's right. And I try my best to provide right readings. This is fucking terrible. Look at these things.
Feel so passionately.
Again, it's not passion when it's just correctness. Okay, so this thing actually risked killing me by giving me a gem. Think about how shitty that is.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go! Okay. Come on, buddy. Come on back. Alright, let's fucking get out of here. Okay. That was fucking nightmare.
So for all of those of you who think that AJ's being a little over the top about this, sound off in the comments.
What? They're all gonna sound off in the comments. I don't want that.
Because the new YouTube Plus thing?
No.
Oh.
Just because I want to be right.
Okay.
And I am.
Okay.
So I guess... Oh, I wanted to hit him into the... He's gonna walk into it. Come on, walk a little farther. Yeah, right there.
Oh, no. Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh my god.
What?
Nothing, I'm just thinking about how much stuff I actually have to do before December 14th, and it is depressing to me. Oh, you're done.
That was stupid.
You're done.
But you know how Christ is often referred to as the Son of Man?
Are you for real? Are you still on this?
Note that Babe is referred to just as Pig by John Hoggett. Pig. Like he stands for the entire set of pigness.
What about humanity?
What?
What about humanity?
Well, I'm saying it's a radical subversion even of an anthropocentric Christianity.
Right. And Babe has to do with, like, you know, the babe in the cradle, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm glad that we're all in agreement about this reading.
And think about it. Like, there's also all the animals around, just like when Jesus was born. Like, there were, you know, the manger and stuff like that.
Yes, when there's the scene.
Yeah. You're totally right. And then there's the end, where Babe is crucified, and everybody's weeping.
It's not the whole thing. He gets hurt at the one point, and then John Hoggett helps resurrect him. It's unclear. I think John Hoggett might be God, but Christ is actually teaching God a lesson in the context.
You're right. Babe is resurrected at that moment. I never thought about it.
And then he's a miracle worker.
That's why his body is like, you know, like in that crisscross shape. Like, you know, his arms are out. And
I would actually watch this movie again and watch for the Christ symbolism, and I'll think about this. All you fuckers!
I think you have
the Gospel of Babe!
I think you have the stupidest reading.
I will see you guys next time.
I'm all for some of it, but come on, really.